welcome back to Teaching Them. This is Michael Keens, and I have a lesson for you for Easter. This is a simple lesson. It's based on the game of bingo. And so what you will do in this lesson is you'll tell the Easter story. And as you tell the Easter story, each kid will have a bingo card. The bingo card looks kind of like this. And I have 8 different versions of this at my website, www.teachingthem.org. And so you can print out the 8 different copies of this and then print them out and distribute among the kids. Now, every card has all the same pictures. All the different pictures from the events of the Easter story are on every single card, but they're shuffled up and arranged in different places. So kids will achieve a bingo at different times. And you can do this a couple ways. You can have them do one bingo and get a prize and then keep playing with everybody else. Or you can award them a prize for each bingo that they can get, because eventually they're going to fill up the entire sheet. Or you could say, whoever gets the most bingos, but ideally the kids will just bingo out the whole thing. They'll black out is another way to refer to that. So they'll cover the whole card in bingo spaces. In the center of what's typically the free space, it's listed as the grace space, Grace, grace space. And grace stands for God's riches at Christ's expense. God's riches at Christ's expense. So when you start out, you really want to tell them, hey, put whatever you're using for blotters, whether coins or candies can be a good way to do it, and then they can eat the candy afterwards. Or I'm using paper clips. So just have them put one on that grace space and say, Jesus paid for you. God's riches at Christ's expense. So that's free. It's free, which is to really highlight the fact that everything that Jesus did for Easter was to purchase for us at his expense of dying on the cross, to purchase for us God's riches, to have this full, true life living with Jesus that he came to give us. So it's played just like normal bingo, except instead of pulling numbers or letters from, a ball pit or anything like that, what you're going to do is you're going to read the Easter story. Now, I have assembled here the Easter story from the Message. I like the Message because it's very lyrical. It's story-based, and so it flows really, really well. And as you are reading it, you'll read through and you'll highlight whenever you get to a space. So the way that shows up in the lesson is in some places you can see there's some really bolded and enlarged text. So this says 30 silver pieces right there. And so that's where you're going to want to say out loud what that is, and you may want to give an extra hint that this is one of the spaces. Then this will keep the kids following along through the whole story, so that they are able to hear the whole story with full attention all the way through. So I'll just read a very short section. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It takes about 15 minutes to read the whole story and to play the game. But I'm going to just read you a brief section so that you can kind of see what this would be like. So let me go to a section. I'm going to go to a section from Mark 15. And so I've taken from all the 4 Gospels and splice them together, the different pieces, because to get the full story of Easter, you really need to read all of those. And it starts from when Jesus is anointed for his burial, just a few days before his crucifixion, goes to the supper in the upper room, and then goes through his trials and being hung on the cross, and then goes all the way through to the best part, which is that Jesus rose from the dead, and then he appeared to his disciples and showed them that he was alive. And the very final part is that Jesus rose back into heaven. So all of that's included in the story. So I'm just going to read here from Mark 15, a brief section to give you an idea of how this goes. So they would have their bingo cards, and you'd be reading this out loud, and you'd say, the soldiers took Jesus into the palace, also called the Praetorium, and called together the entire brigade. They dressed him up in purple, and put a crown of plaited thorns from a thorn bush on his head. Now, you're going to want to read that with emphasis to say a crown of thorns and put it on his head, because that's one of the spaces. So then they should have their blotter, whatever it is, and they should put it on the crown space. Then you would say, then they began their mockery. Bravo, King of the Jews. And King of the Jews is another one. So there's a little sign here that says King of the Jews. So you're going to say, all right, now put a blotter on the King. If you've got King of the Jews, put it on there. And as you go through, they're going to be more and more likely to get a bingo, to shout out bingo. You can stop and celebrate that and then continue on with the story. So they banged on his head with a club, they spit on him, they knelt down in mock worship, and they had all their fun. Then they took his purple cape and put his clothes back on him, and then they marched him out to nail him on the cross. So that's just a brief section from Mark 15, verses 16 through 21. So I think they'll have a lot of fun with it. It'll keep them really engaged and help them to get to know the full story. And so this would be the major part of your lesson, because it's about 20 minutes total. If you set up the game and then you read the story and you celebrate the bingos, you're going to want to have 20 to 25 minutes to run that. If you want to print this out, go to www.teachingthem.org and you can print it out there. And thank you. I hope it's fun. I'll see you next time.